You know, there always comes a point in every person's life where, for better or for worse, they will question the status quo. And looking back, I remember being filled with a bunch of whys and whens as a kid. And technically, I still have those questions in mind. It's just that they've become more refined. I would often say, I'll educate myself more, but such declarations tend to overwhelm you when you lose track of the truth. And don't even get me started on the whole AI fiasco currently going on. All this is to say that the 10 chapters of existence that I've read brought me back to when I reflected on those whys and whens. Among all the living organisms of the earth, there is one that reincarnates over and over again. And while they seem to be emotionally neutral throughout these lifetimes, their growing hate for humans eclipsed all the others. But it wasn't because they'd often die by their hands, but because they did it for simple enjoyment. Eventually, that organism would finally be born as a human named Gian. Even if he had all the encompassing knowledge of nature, humans were the one species he failed to learn anything substantial about. So, he spends his days in silence, experiencing the uniqueness of human routine. But it's his mother, young Shil, who's made the biggest impression upon him. Cause she'll scream or make a fool of herself if it means that she or her child aren't getting screwed over. While Gian's main impression of her is stupid and ignorant, the seeds of compassion begin to weave into him. Eventually, he utters his first question.
Why? Why fight? I do it so I can protect you.
While the warmth he feels in this moment made me happy for him, I also knew that somehow the peace he enjoyed with her would soon be compromised. In reviewing John's relationship with his new mother, I've left out a few key events and revelations. See, there actually seemed to be purpose in Gian reincarnating as all these different animals. He realizes 3 things inherently after being born as a human. 1. He can use the abilities of all his past lives. 2. He is now on his last life. And 3. He can finally die, in theory. He tests these abilities out on a group of cops at night, but kills one in the process. And while the chief cop of the group could have made a report, he decides to organize a private party after observing how he lives. Also, it should be noted that due to a local factory polluting the lake, young Shil is currently bedridden. They successfully go forth with the arrest under suspicion of espionage, but for whatever reason, the chief cop taunts Ja-in with the idea of interrogating young Shil by association. He runs back in time, and thankfully, nothing has escalated. But all young Shil sees is a group of people trying to take away her only family. And what's even more amazing is that the debilitated young Shil was able to shout at the top of her lungs for help. And honestly, I can't even blame them for thinking she's a spy at that point, because I don't know where she's summoning all that energy from if she's sick. But unfortunately for the cops, one of them slapped her. A whole wave of cops, gone in an instant. The main wave from before pulls up, they start shooting. But surprise surprise, the sheer number of them doesn't compensate for the disaster Gian is playing to be. As long as he can hold out just a bit more.
Shaheen, do me a favor. And please, live on.
Decades after the incident, Gian has been training and evolving what he can do with his abilities, all for the sake of human extinction. He decides to confirm his hate for humans by entering society again, but prematurely decides to go through with it anyway. That is, until... Ja-in as a character feels ingenious for the story I think it's trying to tell. A character that has lived basically everything and anything there is on Earth is now experiencing his last form of existence, one which he hates, but still finds new emotions and experiences all the same. And because the ultimate through line is when he makes his final judgment on humans, all the passing feelings I would have about the characters are magnified. In a way, I feel like a judge alongside him, since I am still experiencing humanity as well. Despite the infectious cynicism Gian had, I was rooting for solid reasons for someone like him to spare humanity. If Gian didn't have the level head I think he does, then I doubt the decisions that he will have to make down the line would have hit the same. I'm looking forward to experiencing Gian's journey through his existence. Hey guys, it's been criminally long since the last upload. Would you believe me that I said to myself, I'll upload this in a month? But once again, I spent a lot of time having doubts on presentation, as well as juggling it with outside responsibilities. But I think I've made progress all the same. Honestly, after all these months, I was thinking of just starting the next video to reset my mind. But I'm glad I persevered. Suggest some webcomics below, and I might make a video on it in the future. Indie, official, I don't care. And thanks to Daco for voicing Gian and his mother, I truly appreciate the help. Thank you. Next time, the build-up. Low expectations. Pending title.